Warning, this video contains spoiler alerts.
In this series, we'll be looking at every movie in the Godzilla franchise, from 1954 to 2024, and learn about the many monsters who were introduced. The Godzilla franchise comprises of 33 official Japanese movies, 5 official US adaptations, and 5 other movies for Rodan and Mothra. For those not familiar with the events and characters in the franchise, this series will help you get familiar with them. Now for the 9th movie of the franchise, Destroy All Monsters, 1968. It started in 1999 with a rocket base for daily transportation to an established United Nations exploratory base on the Moon. An underwater base was recently established near Ogasawara Island to study the habits of marine life. On the island, now known as Monsterland, was where all of Earth's monsters lived. The monsters there were Godzilla, Rodan, Anguirus, Mothra, and Gorosaurus. It was difficult for them to leave because of the devices that surrounded the island. Each device had a sensor and method developed for each monster to keep them on the island. For Rodan, who could fly in a limited range of the water, there was a space on the island that he was confined to that was shielded with magnetic walls. But food was not an issue since there was a lot to share. A helicopter came to the island and entered through an entrance at the heart of the island. In the research lab, each monitor was showing live footage of each monster's activities. Kyoko Manabe was assigned there to study Godzilla and the others. She then got a call from Captain Katsuo Yamabe, who was on the moon base. But they got disconnected during the call. They tried to figure out what the problem was and saw gas seeping in from the other room. The gas spread into the rest of the facility and was also spread across the island. Everyone, including the monsters, fell unconscious and all communication to Monsterland was cut off. The United Nations Scientific Committee held a special meeting in Tokyo and were trying to regain communication with Ogasawara Island. They tried to get footage of what was happening on the island and saw the destruction. But they knew someone was jamming their signals. An emergency broadcast from Moscow came reporting that Rodan was destroying everything in the city. Another came from Paris about Gorosaurus emerging from the ground and destroying a monument. A news report stated that the major cities in the world were being destroyed by monsters, starting with Rodan in Moscow, Mothra in Beijing, Manda in London, and Gorosaurus in Paris. Then Godzilla in New York City. Godzilla used his atomic breath to torch the city and destroy a building. The press came to Dr. Yashido and Dr. Stevenson to get answers as to what was going on. But they had no idea what was going on. The strange thing everyone wanted to know was why was Tokyo spared when it was the closest major city to Monsterland. On the moon base, Katsuo was about to leave base with the SY-3 rocket but was called back to base for something important. While on his way back, he and the crew noticed something on the radar and saw a flying saucer. They tried to follow it but were asked to return back to base. When they returned to base, they were all given orders to return to Earth. Dr. Yashido told Katsuo and the others to be on guard when they were landing on Ogasawara Island's control center because something had taken over. After confirming the conditions on the outside, they went into the control center and found that everything was working normally. Kyoko and Dr. Otani greeted them and Katsuo wanted to know what was going on. But Dr. Otani said that he only wanted their cooperation so things could run more smoothly, leaving the others confused. He explained that he did not let all the monsters loose but were actually controlling them from the island. He showed them live footage of Mothra approaching a train that was heading for Beijing and it collided. He then showed Godzilla attacking a cruise ship with his atomic breath. And then Rodan flying and attacked a rocket. Dr. Otani and Kyoko led them into a room where they met the Kilok Queen. She told them that she was not their enemy and only aimed to building a scientific community with those on Earth. But she said that they needed to sacrifice some lives in order to build that scientific community. Katsuo found it sounded absurd and could not believe that Dr. Otani and Kyoko would believe what she was saying. Kilok was a small planet among other small planets that were located between Jupiter and Mars. Dr. Otani said that he respected the Kilok Queen for her scientific ability, with the remote control unit for the monsters as one example. Ogata tried attacking her, but she was protected by a force field wall. Katsuo and the others tried to leave with Dr. Otani and Kyoko, but the gas began to fill the room and the others in the facility surrounded them. The others started attacking them and they tried to escape with Otani and Kyoko. But Kyoko escaped while they were getting the gas masks. They continued fighting until they were able to capture Dr. Otani and left on the rocket. When they got to the mainland, Katsuo took Otani to see Dr. Yashido to answer some questions about where everyone from the control center went. But Otani stayed silent the entire time and jumped out of the window to avoid questioning. Katsuo and Yashido went to check if he was all right, but they were surrounded by the Kilok and their queen. She told them that Earth was now under their control and tried to take Otani away from them. But then the special police came to chase them away and they left Otani behind, escaping on a boat. Katsuo and Yashido took Otani to be treated for his injury and found a strange orb inside his skin below his ear. They examined it and found it to be some miniature transmitter, similar to the ones that could be controlling Godzilla and the others. They decided to look for the source of the radio waves that were being sent to the transmitters so they could attempt to jam the signal. Katsuo and the others used the SY-3 to track the signal and found it in a mountainous region. An old farmer discovered the device, thinking that it was a strange rock, and took it to the police to identify it. He was able to identify the rocket when the police officer thought that it was Rodan. Katsuo and the others then came to scan the area and found the rock. The UN then warned the public of the Kilok using these devices disguised as stones to manipulate the monsters and bring panic to the world. More stones like these were found around the world in high places like the top of churches, rocky cliffs, and the Alps. Even inside a coconut. Dr. Yashido said that the stones were special senders and receivers with a limited reach of 2,000 kilometers, which led to multiple being placed around the world. Those who were missing and still under Kilok control were put on a special wanted list for the public, knowing that they all would have been sent home. Kyoko was on a train when she heard the report and quickly got off at the next stop. She was checked by a special officer but passed through. Then the alarms went off, signaling an evacuation. Kyoko then watched as Rodan flew into the city. The military monitored the situation and Godzilla was reported entering from Tokyo Bay. Then Manda arrived. Godzilla used his atomic breath to destroy the harbor and continued towards the city, knocking down buildings in his path. The military launched an attack against the three monsters. Then Mothra appeared through a subway tunnel and Kyoko went to get a closer look. Comparing the damage done to Tokyo to New York City and Moscow, the US and Russia were more fortunate than Japan. The general told Katsuo that while everyone was focused on the other countries being attacked, the Kilok built a new base in Aizu and had their own monster there. They think that it was Gorosaurus. The hot springs being dried up in the area were similar to what happened on Monsterland and that they might be a connection to the coincidence. Kyoko then came with a message from the Kilok base in Aizu to tell everyone that they will let the monsters return to Ogasawara Island if they agreed to live by their laws and rules in peace. But Katsuo got tired of hearing this and grabbed onto her. Yashido held the others back from intervening and Katsuo got the transmitter off of her. They found the earrings she had on were controlling her, and they explained to everyone that Otani was killed and the others were being controlled. They tried to get Kyoko to tell them where the base was, but her memory of everything was blank since the first incident with the gas. The military then left for Aizu to find the Kilak base. When the SY-3 was about to land, Godzilla started attacking them with his atomic breath and forced them to withdraw. The military then launched an attack against Godzilla to try to get him back. But their signals were getting jammed and a tank was stuck, causing Godzilla to step on it. Then Anguirus joined the attack. The attack failed and the SY-3 decided to leave. But they soon saw a flying saucer and followed it. They noticed that it was heading to Mount Fuji, but Rodan came after them. They opened all the rocket boosters and got away from Rodan. Later, the military began to search through the foothills of Mount Fuji, but Godzilla found them. Katsuo and the others hid from Godzilla and found a strange gust of wind coming from an opening. They went inside and found a cave, but were sealed in. They went further inside and were blocked off again. Then they saw some of the Kilak with their queen appearing in front of them. She said that she lured them to Mount Fuji to show them their base and flying saucers to prove that they were from outer space. She said that the underground tunnels belonged only to the Kilak and no Earthling was allowed. They then disappeared. Katsuo and the others then saw the door open and left. Meanwhile, a new control center was built on Ogasawara and a device was being developed to bring the monsters under control. Dr. Yashido discovered that the radio waves came from the moon and sent the SY-3 to take care of it. They flew low along the surface and was being followed by a flying saucer. When they landed in a crater, the rocket was being shot at by flames and the temperature was increasing. They escaped in the car and fired lasers at a wall that supported the base. The Kilak ran for shelter as the rubble fell from the ceiling and the flames stopped. But the mission failed and the others would be attacked soon. Katsuo and the others went to investigate the wrecked Kilak base and found some strange creatures who were dying due to the decrease in temperature. They found a device and tried to get it loose. Dr. Yashido was not sure what was going on because there was no communication with the moon base and all the radio waves had stopped. They used the rays from the car to burn the device loose and took it back to Earth. Dr. Yashido and the others at the control center then proceeded to regain control of the monsters now that all the radio waves were gone. The Kilak Moon's base went up in flames as the SY-3 escaped with the device. Back on Earth, Dr. Stevenson said that the strange creature that went into the rock were actually the Kilak who needed high temperatures to survive and possibly live forever, which was why they wanted the caverns under Mount Fuji. They decided to use low temperatures to fight the Kilak. Then an alert came in about Godzilla attacking the harbor in Tokyo Bay again. With that, Dr. Yashido decided to try out their new device on Godzilla. At Mount Fuji, a news reporter and the military waited for either Godzilla, Rodan, or Anguirus to attack. But instead they saw Godzilla's son. Then Godzilla behind him. Then Mothra behind them and Anguirus coming from the left. Then Manda, Baragon, Gorosaurus, and Kumanga joined them, along with Varan and Rodan. They were all heading towards the base of Mount Fuji to attack the Kilak. Godzilla was ready to lead all the monsters in the attack, but then Ghidorah came. The Kilak Queen disrupted their broadcast to taunt them about surrendering and told them that Ghidorah was from space. But everyone knew that already. Ghidorah circled around them in the air and landed between Godzilla and the other monsters. Anguirus charged at Ghidorah but was turned onto his back. Ghidorah shot lightning at Gorosaurus and Godzilla grabbed Ghidorah from behind. Rodan made a dust cloud to blind Ghidorah, while Kumonga and Mothra sprayed silk at him. Ghidorah shot lightning at Rodan's feet, causing him to retreat, and Anguirus locked his jaw around one of Ghidorah's necks. Ghidorah flew into the air, with Anguirus still holding on, and bit Anguirus, causing him to let go and crash into the ground. The impact made a massive landslide and uncovered the Kilok base. Anguirus tried to get up but Ghidorah stood on top of him, pinning him down. Godzilla and Gorosaurus attacked Ghidorah together and Godzilla grabbed onto Ghidorah to prevent him from flying away. Ghidorah had Godzilla hovering over the ground, but Godzilla kept attacking to get him to come down. Godzilla held onto one of Ghidorah's heads while Anguirus held onto another, and Gorosaurus kicked Ghidorah onto his stomach. Godzilla kept stomping on Ghidorah's neck and Gorosaurus kept pulling Ghidorah's tail. Minilla blew a ring of atomic breath at Ghidorah and had it wrap around one of his necks. Mothra and Kumonga then started spraying Ghidorah with their silk to prevent him from flying away. A flaming creature then appeared and attacked Rodan. It then went for Godzilla but was chased away by his atomic breath. It flew into a building, causing it to burn in flames, and flew over the control center on Ogasawara Island, destroying the base. Dr. Yashido said that it was from space and was alive. The Kilok Queen called it the Fire Dragon, but Godzilla found their base before she could make any more threats. Godzilla used his atomic breath to get in but it did not work. He then kicked through the wall of the base, showing everyone that he did not need a machine to tell him who his enemy was and only relied on instinct. The Kilok reverted to their larvae form and retreated into rocks similar to the one on the moon. Katsuo took the SY-3 to go after the Fire Dragon and Godzilla and the others were waiting for it to return. The SY-3 tried to fire a cooling missile at the Fire Dragon, but the system was not working. The Fire Dragon latched onto the rocket but Katsuo took it for a ride to shake it off. It then fell off and revealed itself to be a flying saucer. They fired a missile at it and it crashed, bursting into flames. After that, all the monsters were back on Monsterland. So, did the Kilok not realize that they threw all chances of a peaceful partnership with Earth out the window the minute they brainwashed the scientists on Monsterland and sent all the monsters to a rampage across the major cities of the world? Seriously. This just goes to show that maybe the Zillions were smarter than the Kilok because they had a much higher chance of conquering Earth peacefully through a peace treaty and Invasion of Astro Monster, 1965. These Kilok were even more frustrating than the Zillions. In Destroy All Monsters, scientists were successful in containing all of Earth's monsters on an island and called it Monsterland. But when aliens infiltrate and brainwash the scientists and monsters, Earth was in danger. The scientists worked together to counteract the frequency, discover the Kilok's weakness, and prevent their invasion of Earth. But Godzilla and the other monsters also wanted revenge. This aspect of the story introduces the Kilok in Monsterland, or Monster Island, and reintroduces Anguirus, Manda, Gorosaurus, Baragon, and Varan. In the next movie, we'll be introduced to Gabara, an amphibian kaiju who bullied Minilla. This movie would be more canon than official. Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Until next time.